I'm Sully, and as always, welcome into the Gun Club. If y'all aren't familiar, my name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a firearms instructor here in upstate South Carolina. Been teaching now for multiple years, also a paramedic for 20 plus years, 30, going on pretty much 30 years. And today we're going to be doing a weekly update live stream for October 10th, 2023. Now, we've had a few interesting things go on in the last week or so. First off, let's talk about some things that are coming up in the future. A couple of quick announcements. First of all, on Thursday of this week at 7 o'clock, we're going to be starting a series on home defense or preparing your home defense plan. Basically, how to be better prepared for what if you wake up at dark 100 and you hear something go crash in the middle of the night. Is it a bad guy? Is it a burglar? Is it your cat? Is it your neighbor? You don't know. But we're going to talk about coming up with plans, coming up with a game plan for this, fortifying your residence, and basically having something you can throw into motion at dark 100 to better be prepared for the inevitable. Now, I hope you never use it. Personally, I bought a fire extinguisher hoping I never had to use it. I've got insurance on my car, hoping I never have to use it. I put my seatbelt on, hoping I never have to use it. Well, we're going to talk about building a home defense plan. Now, I hope you never have to use it, but better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Then, today, we're going to talk about a legal update. There's been a few cases come through the court system in many, many different areas. We'll talk about some of the different parts about it and why it's important and why it means anything. We're going to start the incident report from Morgan State University. They had an active shooter up there, as well as a shooting case out of Apopka, Florida. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, y'all feel free to correct me somewhere. And we've got a good guy with a gun case. Now, we were actually supposed to have two good guy with gun cases. One of them seems like it may be turning a little questionable, and so I pulled it out for now. If it turns out to be a clean situation later on, I'll bring it back up. But there's questions now about what all was going on as to whether or not the bad guy was actually set up by our good guy with the gun. So I sort of pulled that out of the stream for tonight. But let's get down into everything. We are streaming live on YouTube and Rumble. Of course, we've got to support Rumble. They are the free speech alternative. They have been great to us. I love using Rumble. We keep our library up on Rumble. If you're looking for our old shows, you're looking for something else, you can go direct up to our Rumble channel and you can find records of all of our old shows. Some of the stuff, YouTube gets a little bit hairy sometimes, depending what I'm doing, and they don't really like it. If you need the link to the Rumble channel, it's shown up there. Also, we do have our locals channel, as well as we announce things on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, and Facebook on a regular basis. If you have a specific question you want to ask me, feel free to email me. It's mike.southeastdefense@gmail.com. Let me know, and if there's something I can help you with or you're interested in a specific class, if you're in the region, I'll definitely do my best to help you out. I've been talking with some of the other instructors. We may be trying to get some more guests on from time to time to talk about different specialty areas. One of the things that I'm going to be doing some specialty work in is, well, we're going to hold that off for now. But just to let you know, there's a lot on the horizon we've got planned out. If you would be so kind, please give us a thumbs up on Rumble or YouTube or wherever. Share the stream out there. It's that gets the algorithm going. It lets people know that you find the show worthwhile. It helps get it out more. The more exposure we get, the better our numbers are, the more time and effort we can put into the show. So definitely appreciate that. All righty, without any more ado, let's get into legal stuff. Now, some of this is kind of boring, but it deals with our rights as firearm owners, as the 2A community as a whole. The first big case I want to touch on is a pistol braces case. As you know, the pistol braces saga has been one I've been following pretty closely for quite some time. And the most recent comes as a court injunction, came out of the Northern Texas District Court, Judge O'Connor, and they put in an injunction against the pistol braces regulation. As you remember, pistol braces were something that was fine for us to own for 10 years or more. And all of a sudden, they began reclassifying braces as stocks. You can go back in our channel and look at Pistol Braces Saga parts, I think 1, 2, and 3 for a while. But when they did this, that started turning a lot of our AR pistols into SBRs or short barreled rifles, which came with tax stamp and a bunch of paperwork and a bunch of headaches. Didn't really need that. So, hey, what are you going to do? Little by little, the Pistol Braces saga goes on and on. Now, if any of y'all have any idea of how the legal system works, things go back and forth and up and down and through the courts of appeals. But in this one, Judge O'Connor has continued the injunction against the ATF enforcing anything about pistol braces against members of the FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition, whether you were before or you're currently now. This is the actual Mock v. Garland case. Now, ordinarily, just a simple injunction. Does it really mean anything? Well, yeah, this one means a lot, and I'll tell you why it means a lot. There were two major issues that were brought in this injunction for Judge O'Connor to look at. The first of which was what they call the APA issue, the Administrative Procedures Act, whereby an administrative agency, i.e., the ATF, is in charge of interpreting a law passed by Congress. Well, they published a proposed final rule. The proposal, as you remember, came out with all kinds of wonderful stupidity in it, and the wonderful stupidity included worksheets and task sheets and check sheets. I believe it was the 4999 form, and they put this proposed rule out and said, we want your comment on it, and the public has a right to comment. Well, there was a great deal of public comment on it. A lot of it saying that this doesn't make any sense, especially in light of the fact these things have been fine for 10 years. Okay. The final rule came out that was going to be enforced, the final regulation, and it didn't look much like the proposed final rule. It changed dramatically, which at that point, he said that the ATF overstepped the APA. Basically, you can have little changes and minute changes, and if it's a 60-day or a 90-day window or something like that, okay, you can have little changes between the proposed rule that you get public comment on and the final rule. You can't dramatically change it, especially on an arbitrary basis. He ruled they did, so therefore he ruled that they can't enforce this new regulation. That was good. That got us the injunction that we wanted. We don't want enforcement of this until this is all sorted out in court and we have a final decision. Oh, I see we have somebody watching us from the Craft Cave. Good evening, Miss Minnie. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I wonder what we're crafting on. For all I know, she's making me some more cups and stickers and other cool stuff. Hey, always like that. But so we got the injunction on the APA grounds. They crossed over. They way overstepped their bounds on the APA. And so the ATF got a little slap on the wrist from Judge O'Connor. That would have been good enough. However, he went further, and he went a lot further. He went on into the discussion of pistol braces as well as AR-15s, both being what he cited as being commonly used by lawful citizens for lawful purposes. Well, if something is commonly used by lawful citizens for the lawful purpose of self-defense, then it falls under the old Heller Supreme Court decision. As, we can keep and bear arms, and therefore, under Heller, the Supreme Court ruled that we can keep anything that is commonly used for the common purpose of self-defense that wasn't considered a dangerous and unusual weapon. Well, everyone who's attacked AR-15s or pistol braces or any of our stuff, they always try to make it sound like it's some dangerous and unusual assault weapon. Well, in Judge O'Connor's decision, he wrote a beautiful decision that cited that pistol braces as well as the AR-15s they're commonly attached to. Well, there's between 10 and 40 million pistol braces, and who knows how many ARs in the country now. I know I had a stat on it at one point, but plenty are commonly used by lawful citizens for lawful self-defense. So not only does his ruling, and now it's just North District of Texas, but his ruling puts a heck of a burden on the ATF or anyone else trying to enact any kind of anti-AR-15 or anti-brace stuff, that he cites these as being lawful under Heller. Bringing them in under Heller gives them a lot of protection. And so his decision, if you want to read it, it's a good one. And again, I think at least Judge O'Connor, and I know he's been involved in several of these in the Northern District of Texas, I think he is at the point that he is so, I can't say for certain, but I think he's about tired of the ATF trying to play games. This was lawful for 10, 12 years. Now all of a sudden we're going to snap our fingers because we can. Well, was the regulation arbitrary and capricious? Yes. Did they overstep the APA rule? Yes. Is it AR-15 and these pistol braces in common use? Yes. They are definitely supporting a lot of good things in our favor. Now, is the fight over? No. I don't think the fight's ever going to be over. We all thought that after Bruen, the fight would be over, but it's still not. Next one, forced reset triggers. Now, if you're not familiar with forced reset triggers, very simple, 20,000 foot view. A forced reset trigger enables you to fire more quickly. It enables you to fire now, still one pull of the trigger, one bullet, but now when you release, you also get one bullet. Thus, you can, according to the ATF, get rates that approach the rate of an automatic weapon. Yes, we can. I won't even debate that. You can get a rate that approaches the fire rate of an automatic weapon. Okay. On the other side of that coin, the definition under the ATF USC 1922 or 922, is fires more than one round with one function of the trigger. Well, if this is a function and this is a function, it's one round per function. So therefore, it does not make a firearm into a machine gun. So an FRT, even though the ATF is now saying that, oh yeah, they've been around a while, but now we're calling them a machine gun. Now, they had gone after a company by the name of Rare Breed Triggers, and Rare Breed had tried to fight back. They had struggled fighting back. They got a lot of support in from the NAGR, National Association of Gun Rights. Yep, that's our naggers. Now, they came in and they backed us up. And they said, we're going to back up Rare Breed. And they helped support Rare Breed, and they brought a case and said, this is one function of the trigger, whether it's a forward function or a backward function, it does not fire more than one round. Now, the ATF wants to claim of the rate of this, but the law, going back to 18 USC 922, doesn't talk about what the rate of fire is or how quickly something fires or doesn't fire. It says discharge more than one round with one function of the trigger. Well, so it doesn't meet that definition. Now, the New York District Court has said that they feel that it does meet the definition because you can shoot as fast as a machine gun. Okay. Once again, the Northern District Court of Texas came out and said, no, it doesn't matter what the rate of fire is. The definition is, under federal law, one function of the trigger. If they want to rewrite the rule or rewrite the law, Congress can do that and come up with how many shots per minute or come up with a rate issue or a rate limit issue. But the thing is, that's not what the law is. So if that's not what the law is, he's pushing an injunction against that. Now, the interesting part of this is because we've got two sort of opposite rulings on the same general information, the same general idea. Well, he put in the injunction in to protect Rare Breed Triggers from the ATF going after them and shutting them down. All the customers of Rare Breed Triggers, who also are members of the National Association of Gun Rights, and came through and said, look, we're going to not allow any enforcement against these people. The ATF was all ready to start going knocking door to door and going through the customer list, say everyone who bought one of these, you bought an illegal machine gun and you're going to jail for 10 years. And no, they put an injunction against any enforcement of that, saying that it does not fit this, regardless of what the rate is, because that ain't what the law is. Last legal issue we've got coming up. One more thing to mention. Because we've got what's called a split circuit or a half and half there, this makes this case very potentially attractive to go to the Supreme Court. And if this goes to the Supreme Court, we can only hope that our wonderful Supreme Court group of 9 has a little bit more intellectual curiosity and a little bit more wherewithal going on than the New York District Court that has never seen a gun they liked in the last 1,000 years. You know, the Supreme Court doesn't take every case that's presented to them. You sort of have to explain, why is this a good court case to take? Why should you be bothered with this? You guys are like the big 9 up in D.C. What's this worth your time? Well, when you've got 2 of their subcourts disagreeing, that makes it very ripe for them to want to take and settle the issue. So, again, we may have a really good one right there. If the Supreme Court takes it up, no promises, but they've been more gun-friendly than New York has. And again, I think if you look at the ruling out of the North District of Texas, it very simply states that the ATF makes their case on rate of fire. That's not specified in law. Function of the trigger is, and based on function of the trigger, it does not fit the definition of a machine gun. So that's going on with the forced reset triggers. Next one, California. Now, as you know, we've been watching through the Duncan v. Bonta case go through the California mag limit ban. Can't have any more than 10 rounds per magazine. And Judge Benitez wrote a wonderful ruling, and basically in his 71 pages, he cited how, these magazines throughout the country are lawfully in use by lawful citizens for, self-defense, over 10 rounds. The 10-round limit is some states, 15-round limit is some states, but magazine capacity is not limited in the vast majority of states. And because those larger capacity magazines, I wouldn't even say high capacity, I know they love to say high capacity, they're quite frankly standard capacity. You go to the store, you buy the gun, I promise you, you get a 30-round mag if you buy an AR-15. That is the standard issue with it. So, because that's the standard magazine with it, he basically came up and said they're lawfully in use throughout the country by lawful citizens for lawful self-defense. Yeah, you see how they're getting a lot of this stuff on our side. Benitez said, no, they fit under Heller, therefore we can't ban them. It's been pushed up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they're actually going to have a full panel on it and see what goes on with it. Now, do I think the Court of Appeals and the Ninth Circuit is going to help us? Maybe, maybe not. This is a battle California's had for 10 years over magazine capacities. Now, we talk about active shooters in here. We talk about shooting situations all the time. We talk about the, most deadly school shooting occurred with handguns, didn't occur with AR-15s. It didn't occur with high-capacity mags. We talk about high-capacity mags aren't even used in the vast majority of situations. But, again, we've got California who's so hell-bent, they're going to spend 10 years fighting to ban magazines at a 10-round limit. And what's it going to do? Well, they think it's going to fix something. Trust me, there's a hell of a lot more that Gruesome Newsom needs to fix than the 10-round limit. Alrighty, so that's the legal stuff. And honestly, we're getting to the point around here. The way these court cases are falling, these all fell within the last week. They're dropping left and right on me. So if I missed something, please throw me a note in the comments. Throw me a note in the chat. Tell me I'm an idiot. Please, if I missed something, by all means, let me know. But yeah, just trying to keep up with all these cases and all the different rules and restrictions. I feel like I'm getting a second-rate law school education. You never know. At the rate we're going, I may be a strip mall lawyer before all of this is all done. Now, let's get into more interesting stuff. We've got an incident report out of Baltimore, Maryland. Like I said before, We had a shots fired on Morgan State University campus. It was a week ago tonight. It actually happened right as we were signing off the show. About 30 minutes later, I began getting notifications on my phone that they had shots fired on campus. Now, they had 5 individuals wounded, 4 of which have since been discharged from the hospital, one of which was likely to be discharged either today or tomorrow. Was doing stable condition, all doing well. This incident occurred during homecoming week. They had basically just finished at the Fine Arts Center crowning the Miss and Mr. Morgan State University, and the King and Queen of homecoming, whatever we're going to call them. And, wonderful time, a lot of family, friends, everyone gathered around. And as they're exiting the auditorium, shots ring out in the common area. Now, the initial thing is, again, oh, well, it's an HBCU under attack. Now, Morgan State is a fairly well thought of research institution. Not, it ain't MIT, but it's a fairly well thought of, school. They've got a very good research program. What the heck? Why is this? Why is a, HBCU having a active shooting? If you think back to, our Jacksonville Walmart shooter, that was definitely racially motivated and highly targeted. But is this targeted? Well, statement came out the next day from Baltimore PD. It seems to have stemmed from a dispute between 2 smaller groups. 2 armed suspects in each group targeted another person, however, that individual was not hit by any rounds. Now, if we talk about small groups of individuals, some or many of which appear to be armed, who are exchanging fire back and forth, okay, this definitely does not come in as racially motivated hate crime, HBCU, anything along those lines. This is, truly, regardless of what the media says, this is, gang shooting in Baltimore. Now, if you go back to Memorial Day, we had a picnic or a barbecue at the apartments up in Brooklyn Park, Baltimore, where we had, I think, 29 people injured, 2 or 3 killed, when 5 or 6 people in different groups ran into each other at a cookout and started shooting. Again, that was definitely not a targeted racial attack. That was inner city gang violence and stupidity. I cited at that time, looking at everything, chances are these gentlemen who are involved, or ladies, could be ladies, far be it for me to think that some crazy chick won't come up to the college and do a spray and pray job. But I'm going to guess that they're either underage or prohibited possessors. I'm going to guess that chances are they did not buy these guns legally. I'm going to guess that, we can sort of see how these patterns form. And the reason it's important to look at this is if we're going to stop this, and I want to stop this, I don't want 5 individuals wounded at a homecoming get together. They had to shelter the campus in place for several hours, call SWAT crawling all over the place, had to go through a bunch of. Then it comes out, this is the 3rd year in a row this has happened at Morgan State University during homecoming. I want to stop this. I really do. Now, we can, do what the anti-gun lobby does. Let's demonize the NRA. Well, no, that ain't going to work because I'm guessing none of the people involved with this probably called gang members of the NRA or GOA or NAGR or 2AF or any of the foundations that we're a part of. I'm going to guess that, we can make harder to buy a firearm. Let's do more restrictions and waiting periods and better background checks. Well, folks, if these folks aren't getting their guns through conventional channels, that's not going to do any good. Now, I'm all for, definitely, they catch them. They need to address what's going on as far as the charges from this. But they also need to look. If these people are either significantly underage or prohibited possessors, they need to get a charge on that too. Too many times we're seeing these DAs roll it in and, oh, well, we're going to get you on this, and we'll throw in the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. So if they are going to commit the crime and they know that's going to be a rolled into the other charge anyway, there's no disincentive. We need to get the illegal stuff off the streets. And we've talked about how to do that in previous streams. We may actually do a spotlight on that. I've been reaching out to the agencies that are doing that to see what I can get. But for this to happen, I hate the fact they had to cancel a bunch of their homecoming activities. I hate the fact that, this is the third year it happened. I hate the fact they had 5 individuals wounded. That's, stupid. On the other side of the coin, what I hate more than that is lawful gun owners are going to pay the price for the stupidity. And again, it ain't us. And you can look at this, and if you stop and look objectively at these cases, this is, a dispute between 2 small groups of armed people on a college campus. And they searched a bunch of the dormitories, SWAT went through, they had it locked down for like 3-4 hours. Couldn't find anyone. So it leads me to believe that chances are it wasn't someone from campus. It was probably groups from off campus who conflicted. They don't like them and they don't like them. And we had what amounts to a modern day Hatfields and McCoys going on at Morgan State University campus. And they shouldn't have it happen. And I don't like it happen. But if we're going to solve it, we need to get to the true cause and effect and the etiology of it. Now, hope y'all ready for a good rant, because we've got a rant coming. We have definitely got a rant coming, and this one may be good. You may give me a thumbs up for a green back for this one or two. Apopka, Florida. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. If I'm not, folks, I'm sorry. I'll apologize. Shooting after a youth football practice last Monday. 2 13-year-old youth football players were shot in the parking area after practice had let out. Practice let out, all the kids going over to the cars, and we get 2 13-year-old kids shot. Now, none of the wounds were critical. One kid was shot in the back. The other one is shot in the arm. This is just a bad thing. How the heck can we, and I'm trying to be good, YouTube, I think I almost did a private Rumble stream on this one because I was close. Still may. I think I may do it when we get a little bit further, but 2 13-year-olds shot in the parking lot after a football practice. These kids can't even go to football practice without getting shot. What world, what country do we live in? We're not a third world country. We're not some crazy banana republic. The fact that this happens to these 2 kids blows my mind. Then I read further. The shooter was an 11-year-old teammate of theirs. The shooter was an 11-year-old teammate of theirs. I'll give you all a moment to pick your teeth up off the floor. I hope everyone was sitting down when I did that. There apparently, at a snack time during the practice, had been an earlier incident where the 11-year-old had a bag of chips or potato chips or something, and the 2 older boys, the 13-year-olds, slapped them out of his hands. So, after practice breaks up, the 11-year-old goes running out to the car where mom was waiting, and apparently there was a box either on the passenger side of the car in the passenger seat somewhere. The boy opens, and I've seen it on video, goes running over to the car, opens the door of the car, reaches in, grabs the loaded gun that mom's just got laying around. Because, that's what we do. We leave loaded guns laying around with our kids in the car, right, Mom? Real good work. Good work, sunshine. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to be charged, just to let you know. And grabs a loaded gun, turns around. He moves about 8 to 10 feet from the car back toward them and starts popping off rounds. I'm not hammering. I'm doing the throw the bullets out of the gun routine, and starts popping off around. He gets 1 shot off. Folks, I don't know where to go with this. When I heard there was a shooting at a youth football practice and 2 kids were shot, I'm like, okay, what was this? Older brothers or gang violence or what? No. Mom went to pick the 11-year-old up, and because there was an argument over a bag of potato chips, I'm biting my tongue, YouTube, I'm trying to be good. Because there was an argument over a bag of potato chips, he decides at some point he's going to go grab mom's gun or whoever's gun or, baby daddy's gun or Pookie's gun or Ray Ray's gun or whoever, turn around, run back toward the kids and squeeze off around. Okay, let's see where we can break this out here. Yeah, the 13-year-old shouldn't bully the 11-year-old. And I'll tell you, that age, kids, football practice, trust me, worse things were done to every member of every team I played on at that age. I don't want to hear it. Okay, yeah, they bullied him. I think when I played football, you had everybody was, picking on and bullying and pulling jokes on everybody else. Whether it was, someone crawling up behind your legs and buddy coming over saying, "What's that?" and pushing you over backwards over someone. Whether it was, cheap shots out of bounds, whether, hey, you're wearing your cup and give you a good sock right where you hoped you were wearing your cup. But the thing is, as bad as these two 13-year-olds bullying the kid over a bag of potato chips is, an 11-year-old equates pulling out a gun and shooting somebody. And then, to add insult to injury, the 11-year-old has access to a loaded gun because don't y'all just ride around with a gun sitting in the front seat of your car on top of a box? Who's crazy? I'm hoping mom is charged or whoever the individual who owned the gun who was picking the kid up. I'm hoping they're charged. I really am. They haven't made a decision yet, but we have an 11-year-old who was taken into custody, who is being potentially charged. The DA was trying to decide how to charge this, how to deal with an 11-year-old who deliberately, not in a self-defense, this is nowhere near self-defense. And if someone wants to argue with me on self-defense, that's fine. I'll do my best Andrew Bronca on them, and I'll turn around and I'll say imminence was over. There was no imminent threat to this child. He was 10 feet, 15 feet away from them when he grabbed a gun, turned around, and advanced toward them. So no, it was not self-defense. He wasn't protecting himself or his others or mom. No. He grabbed a gun to get revenge. And you knock my chips out of your hand, I shoot you. And an 11-year-old has access to a gun and feels this is appropriate. Yeah. And again, he moved away from the car. He was, at first, again, until I watched the video, well, were the kids pinning him up against the car? Were they attacking him? Were they chasing him? Did the kid run to the car under threat of this, that, and the other? And he did this in desperation? No. He ran to the car, got the gun, and went right back to fight it out and shot. Who's crazy? Again, we need education, in my opinion. Mom needs a little bit of education in keeping her firearm secure. I think the 11-year-old needs education. I don't know where he would have thought that this is appropriate, who he learned it from, where he learned it from his father or Mama's boyfriend or Pookie or Ray Ray or whoever or Jasper. I don't know. This is stupid shit. This is stupid crap. Fortunately, the two 13-year-olds are okay. But if we had a 13-year-old kid, one or more, with rounds flying in a parking lot of football practice, come on, man. Let's get our heads out of our asses, America. We've got some serious problems here. And I may, like I said, do a separate follow-up stream on this one as we get more details on it. It happened a week ago. I found it over the weekend, and it was just, the more I read, the more I just sat there dumbfounded. Alrighty, enough negative stuff. I hate being such a negative asshole all the time, but I'm good at it, if nothing else. I have certain very useless talents, and that was one of them. We'll discuss some of the others some other time, but good guy with a gun. Here's a little bit of a feel-good story. We had an employee at an Arlington, Texas car dealership who thwarted an active shooter. Now, gentleman shows up outside the dealership. He was fired about, they said, between 30 and 60 days ago, and he returned to the dealership with a rifle. He began approaching the dealership from the outside, firing into the dealership, walking toward the big wide open service entrance. Well, one of the service advisors in the dealership has a concealed carry, and he engaged with the shooter. Now, had he not done that, there is a very real, very good possibility this gentleman with the rifle makes it in the door, and who knows who in the service bay or elsewhere in the building gets caught, gets clipped, gets shot, gets injured, whatever. Several of the salesmen were actually getting customers down, chaperoning them into back rooms, everything else. But one of the dealership service advisors engages this guy with his everyday carry sidearm and just forced the shooter to retreat from the entrance. He went back toward the parking area. By that point, law enforcement's rolling in, and the shooter engaged with law enforcement, lost that, shot, I believe, 3 times, and transported to the hospital, stable condition. Don't have a final disposition on him. I know he's been arrested, multiple charges, but how many places that we work or go or everything else, oh yeah, you can't carry a gun when you're at work here. Had that dealership not allowed that service advisor to carry, what would have happened? This is just your average Toyota dealership, Toyota or Honda or something. It's your average car dealership. What would have happened had that gentleman not been carrying and not had the emotional fortitude or testicular fortitude to step up and engage a guy? Sidearm versus rifle. And the rifle, they're saying it was an AR type, whatever that means. You know, it was a black AR type rifle. I don't know. I haven't seen pictures of it. But the thing is, somebody stood up and did the right thing. No, he didn't get a shot on the bad guy. He did discharge his firearm, was able to at least force him back, make him reconsider his plan to commit mass murder in a car dealership. Could we have had a body count? As it stands, no innocents shot by the bad guy. I'm going to say that again. No innocents shot by the bad guy. So this gentleman basically thwarted a man with a rifle with his everyday carry. Got to give him credit, stepping up. So now, if you're an employer and you don't want your employees carrying, I mean, honestly, why would your receptionist need to carry her Glock at work? Think about it. Who's the first person who's going to engage someone coming in the door? Her willingness to engage someone coming in the door may be the reason they don't get to the person that fired them. The service advisor, his willingness to engage this bad guy is why no customers, no dealership employees, no good guys at all got shot. So I'll leave you with that. That's the feel good of the day. It really is. A private citizen stepped up, and even though, no, he didn't put the bad guy down, he didn't get a stop on it, he didn't do anything else, he provided enough resistance to hold the shooter with a rifle off until the boys in blue got there. And the boys in blue, he and the idiot decided to engage with them. And that didn't work too well. I don't know what his everyday carry is. I don't know whether he was, trying with a little 25 or 380 pocket rocket, or whether he was rocking a full frame 45 1911 model. But you know what? His sidearm chased away one of those big bad assault rifles that everyone's so paranoid about. Yeah, exactly. So, alrighty, folks. I know we're going a little bit longer today. We're going to be doing home defense when you come up. If you come up, join us on Thursday evening. Again, it's going to be about 7 something for our kickoff. We're going to start talking about home defense and basically starting with a lot of planning and a lot of setup and the fundamentals. Because honestly, if you get that knock, knock, knock at 4 o'clock in the morning and someone, next thing you know, they're trying to kick in your door or a window thinking you're asleep, you might want to have a plan. If you come home and all of a sudden your front door is open and you're pretty sure you locked it, you might want to have a plan. So, y'all have a wonderful day, wonderful evening. Please be smart, be safe. Bye.